I had a little bit of a problem. I had taken for granted that I would have plenty of time eating in Tokyo, but with 3 days, long queues, and limited belly space, choices had to be made. This was not the trip for experimentation, it is going for the try and test it. So these are the 4 viral food places in Tokyo that I think are definitely worth your time. We are going to cover ramen, yakiniku, rice bowls, and tonkatsu. This is Ichiran, and the question is, have you really been to Japan if you haven't heard of Ichiran on social media? Ichiran is probably the most popular ramen spot that is most popular for its individual sitting booths and vending machine ordering system. But it's most popular for the fact that you can customize basically every part of your meal, from the broth to the noodle type. It is a rich tonkatsu-based ramen with straight noodles and a variety of toppings that you can pick from. The queue is very long. I don't think I've been to Ichiran that hasn't had a queue since like 10 years ago. It's a very popular place and I can see why. It's so consistent, and the fact that you can literally customize any parts of your order is something that's really unusual in a lot of Japanese restaurants. And when I say customize, I mean literally every single aspect of your order, from the richness of the broth to how much garlic you want to the firmness of your noodles. In fact, Ichiran even sells an instant ramen version of its dish. You don't speak to a single person at all during your entire meal. You don't even see the staff faces at all in this process. That means no one will know if you don't like spring onions. There were also some quality of life upgrades to Ichiran's in popular tourist locations like Shibuya and Shinjuku, like the machines accepting electronic payments. It used to only accept cash, so we all had the moments when we are fumbling with the coins and cash, and everything is falling apart. So the nice thing about Ichiran, and the reason why it's so popular, is that the less thinking, the better. Photogenic, distinct, and delicious. This is Tsujihan, a place which only has 4 different options on its menu and are all different variants of seafood rice bowls. I had only recently gained an appreciation for seafood, and especially raw seafood, and I think it's the best way to consume this kind of product. And Japan, being a country that's literally surrounded by the ocean, means you can get very fresh products all year round. While all of the bowls contain the same base, the different variants all contain different kinds of seafood, along with the type of toppings on it. While the rice bowls feature many different seafood such as uni or otoro, the main style of this dish is the sea bream, which is served in 3 different ways. You get it as a sashimi side at the start of your meal, you get it in the presence of your main dish, which is the rice bowl, and at the end, you get it in the form of a broth, which simmers all of the remaining parts of the sea bream, with not a single part being wasted at all. Plus, at this point of the meal, if you have eaten a lot of your rice, you get the option to have a free refill of rice of as much as you want. And who doesn't like to have more rice and soup? It's a warm, comforting meal, especially in the cold winter days. Even though technically you only have 1 dish, I see this like a 3-course meal because of the different ways that the seafood is presented to you and the different mediums in which you can eat it from. This bowl is not only beautiful to look at and photograph, but I find it perfectly balanced as well, as none of the seafood overpower each other, and the addition of sesame seeds add a bit of nuttiness to the dish along with some brightness from the perilla leaves and seaweed. There are multiple locations across Tokyo, so find one that's closest to you and also check the queue status before you go in. You don't want to end up waiting a very long time, especially when you can spend that time having more food in Tokyo, like this onigiri places, from the numerous shops around the city or from the local convenience stores. Imagine this, a small, dark, unassuming restaurant, and it is filled with the overwhelming smell of sizzling beef. If your favorite part of the meal is the protein, this is the place for you. This is Jumbo, a really popular yakiniku place among both tourists and locals alike. Jumbo truly specializes in yakiniku, and they maintain a lot of quality control in a way that I do not often see in a lot of restaurants. This place takes their meat so seriously that for the more premium cuts of meat, you are not allowed to cook it. This staff will come to cook it for you so they can maintain quality control. But other than that, you have full control over the doneness of your meat and how you wish to prepare it. One of my favorite dishes in this place that I always get is this yokko, which is basically beef tartare. You eat it raw with the most orange sunset yolk I've ever seen. I always find this dish to be perfectly balanced and it's not overwhelmingly rich. I think it's great, it's balanced, and I'll always order it at this spot. This place is so versatile, you will not be disappointed by the quality of meat that you will find in this restaurant. This place is extremely popular, and it's one of the few places in Tokyo that I say you definitely need to have a booking for coming. If not, you'll be waiting for a very long time, or there would not be any spots for you as the location is quite small. For as long as I could remember coming to Tokyo with my family, this is one of the places that we have come to every single year. This is Tonkatsu Maisen, which directly translates into pork cutlet house. This location is actually a refurbished bathhouse, and it's really reflected within a lot of the interior which they maintain. This is probably the most consistent and delicious pork cutlet that I've had in Tokyo, and I've been coming here for a very long time. It's so reliable, and there's so many different options you can get from. You can get the standard sets, which is just with tonkatsu and unlimited cabbage and rice, or you can go for the mix and match, which is kind of like a surf and turf because it includes seafood like tempura prawns. The curry tonkatsu here is amazing as well. The curry is so beefy and rich, while being balanced with the right amount of sweetness. That is very common in a lot of Japanese curry. And it also had more set options. If you're not too sure what to order, it has preset menus for you. The more streamlined the process has become over the years with its growing popularity. And those are the places that I will go to in Tokyo if I'm limited in the amount of days that I am going to be staying in the city. There's so many delicious food in Tokyo that it's really hard to pick and choose. These are the places that I've just grown up eating since I was a very young kid coming to Japan with my family. Of course, in between all of the main meals, there are a lot of snacks that I'll eat on the way. If I see a place that I think is very interesting, I'll most likely walk in to try what's going on. And I think that's a great way to be traveling around, especially in a place in Japan. I base my travels in Japan based on the restaurants I want to visit. I'll find a restaurant and I'll just explore the area because I want to go in an odd hour so that I don't have to line up. And I end up finding local spots or hidden gems that are not as popular on social media. But if you're going to be traveling up north in Hokkaido in the winter time, why don't you stay tuned for my next video where I cover the many different regional variants that you can find in the Hokkaido region. Until then, why don't you check out some of my other videos on the food that I would recommend you eat in Shibuya that are foreigner friendly.